the hoops. For the people, by the people. For the culture.
Peace, peace, peace. Jumbo. Welcome to the Vada Hoops podcast right here on Black Power Media, Reloaded. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I am your host. This is episode number 87. We have a very special guest today, and I'm excited whenever we're talking underground revolutionary, hip-hop, RBG, all that. I'm talking about the one and only N.E. $. The system don't work. Ness, peace, my brother. Welcome to the Vada Hoops podcast. How you doing?
Peace, brother. How you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, man. This is long overdue. Like I've been seeing you on the gram and just building. You know what I mean? We in two separate places, but same wavelength. So yeah, now let's build.
Yeah, you already know. I appreciate what you do, man. Without a doubt. Let's get right into it, man. I know you're from Philly. Talk a little bit about, you growing up in Philly and how, hip hop became a part of your life.
Philly's a real ass city. Let's just keep it like that. Working class city. You know, people know the energy of Philly is like tough, hard nosed, blue collar. And coming up in Philly, when I was coming up, in the 90s and all that, hip hop obviously was a big part of just the general culture. We're only like an hour or so, like an hour, 45 minutes away from New York. Mm-hmm. And, there's pre-social media and all that. Like hip hop was something that me as a kid was just, pure fan. Like the artists that I listened to, all that, like I didn't look at it as something that I was going to do, as a kid. It was just something that I enjoyed, the Nas's, the Wu-Tangs, the Mobb Deeps, even going back before that, like, Philly cats, like the Youngsters and Larry Lair and like just different, different artists. But it wasn't something like, I would rap, as a kid, but it wasn't like a goal of mine as a kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Philly is one of them cities where, like I said, New York is right there. And because New York is the capital of capitalism and there's so many opportunities and companies and different things, like I tell a lot of my New York homies, it's almost like a dark cloud over Philly where it's kind of like, this is my lot in life. This is where I'm going to be. Right. And I'm not really aspiring to, too much more than that within Philly. Like, and that's me speaking generally, just the general energy that I felt as a kid. And I would say with Philly, if you trying to do something, some whatever it is, whatever industry, whatever. Let's say you want to be a musician, you be an actor, you want to, do something bigger, you end up leaving the city. And when I left high school, I went to college for a little bit, trying to do something with my life, just get out of Philly. You know what I mean? Like I ain't trying to just be sitting in Philly, on the block or just doing whatever. So I went to the school, Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida. It's a black college. Right. Historically black college in Tallahassee, Florida. And my experience leaving Philly and going there, that's kind of what shifted just my thoughts of everything. No knock to Philly. You know what I mean? I could have stayed home and still did a lot of great things and all that. But just stepping outside of that comfort zone, if you will, and going somewhere else and seeing people from different areas and all that is really what kind of shifted, my thinking. And Florida A&M is where I met, some my people Army RBG homies, sticking them from their prez, Tahir and Abu and all that. So yeah. So Philly, salute to Philly. Like no matter where I go, no matter how long, I step away from Philly, whatever, I'm always going to Philly. I still got homies there. My pop, when he passed away, he left the house in Philly. So like I'm always in Philly. But when I move around the world, wherever I live, whether I live in New York, Miami, whatever, like cats know, they're like, oh, yeah, and that's the Philly boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. You mentioned, the importance of going somewhere else and that helping you for everything, you know what I'm saying? And like I can relate to that, me, I've had the the opportunity of living in different places, like different cities, different countries. And I've also seen that, help me open up and just mature and just become a better person in general. You know what I'm saying? Just learning different things and understanding also, our situation as African people and seeing the relatable aspects in different places, seeing how, we're one people and, we go through very similar situation no matter where we at. But just going to another place, is just something that helps you
It
understand
gives you
certain things.
perspective.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
gives you perspective. You
No
know what I mean?
doubt. Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
def- I definitely think that traveling is something that, I think I would prescribe that, like for the youth. You know what I
Mm,
mean? For young black brothers and sisters, black and brown brothers and sisters, like to just stay in one space, you don't get that perspective. Once you
right.
start moving around, you start seeing, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, outside of just seeing new things, that
Yeah.
also, helps with your education, your life education, and your mental health and all that. Like just seeing exactly what you said, like, oh, they going through it, I'm going through here, like back home or whatever.
Mm,
So
mm, mm.
yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And yo, so see, I always like to speak about culture, but culture from a revolutionary perspective. You know what I'm saying? Meaning
Mhm.
that, especially when we're talking about hip hop, I feel like, first of all, everything is political, and our culture is so important. Our culture being revolutionary, you know what I'm saying, and being like a culture of resistance. At first, when you get into hip hop, when does the political education aspect of it, come in? Talk to me about that.
Good question. Um, Going back to what I was saying, as far as like as a kid, I was a fan of hip hop. When I say fan, meaning like right now, I'm still a fan of hip hop,
Where?
but I think as a creator, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I hear something, I reflect on it, like whether it's, just something that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And, maybe, look at it that way. But back when I was coming up, the general culture of hip hop, at a certain time had certain messages in it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like when I think back to the Public Enemies, X Clan, um, King's Son, just certain, artists were like, definitely speaking about things that as a kid, you just bop into the beat, but you start getting into the culture, like you said, the revolutionary culture of it. And even other hip hop artists that weren't necessarily revolutionary, like let's say like the Public Enemies and all that, just had that as it was cool to know what the fuck was up. Is it
Yeah.
okay to curse, by the
Yeah,
way?
yeah,
It's cool.
yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
straight. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was cool. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And when you're a kid, unless your parents are radicalized or you like a Panther Cub or something,
Yeah.
like if you're just your average kid growing up in regular ass America or whatever, you know what I mean? Cool is a currency. What's dope is a currency. It's like, yo, whatever, whatever. So I would say as a fan, that's what it was. You know what I mean? It was that I came up in that space. Then things started shifting, you know what I mean? Like throughout the 90s, things shifted and you start getting more, glamorization rap and, I'm rich and, I'm popping this and I'm going to these parties, whatever. And when that started happening, I was a young adult trying to figure it out and in the clubs and, all that. But my foundation, as far as my taste and all that, still had that in there. And then when I went down to FAMU, that's what FAMU, that's what they
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
It's a historically black college, and you got all these kids from all over the country coming together with that framework in mind as black people to like do something through that gaze, as opposed to if you go to a regular white college or whatever, where you're just like, I'm just trying to make some money, whatever,
Mm,
or I'm just trying to assimilate.
mm, mm.
So I would say that's when me as a fan and then also going into as a creator, as a person that makes hip hop, that creates whatever, is when it really started happening because the people that were around me were on that. Like I said, Dev Prez, Stickers from Tallahassee, Emma's from Brooklyn, but he went to FAMU.
Mhm.
Tahir, one of the producers from Let's Get Free and a bunch of other works.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
from Tallahassee. Different people, like we all, my partner in ALX, he was in Tallahassee at the time. And, we're just all building. We're just young adults, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Building,
Yeah.
connecting. And I would say around that time was
Yeah, yeah.
really when it was like, you know what? We ain't just going to be rapping to rap. We're using this to mobilize. We're using this to tell, tell our stories. We're going to use this as a cultural weapon, if you will.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you mentioned that, at a certain point, the main kind of what we could call mainstream rap, people knew kind of to a certain degree what time it was. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was cool to be hip, to know
Yeah,
what time it was. And
right.
so I remember there was a moment where, everybody had on the African medallions, and meaning like people knew they were African, you know what I'm saying?
X hats
X
with the Malcolm
hats.
X hat,
Yeah,
red,
yeah.
black, and
You know what I'm
green.
saying?
Like I go back. I don't mean to cut you off, but I go
It's
back
all good.
and look at things that I didn't even notice, like Tribe Called Quest. They
Mhm.
had the red, black, and green, like
Yeah,
motif all throughout
yeah,
that shit. And I'm
yeah.
like, oh, okay,
Yeah. It
all
was
right,
like common knowledge. Like, we knew what's up. And then at some point, our people kind of lost that. You know what I'm saying? And I see it, I come from the Cuban hip hop movement, and I even see it in Cuba, whereas like everything always happens a little bit later, but earlier, like when I was coming up, all the people that I used to look up to, all the MCs a little bit from the generation before mine in Cuba, they was all rocking the RBG wristbands. You know what I'm saying? Like they was talking about specifically Afro-Cubans and what was happening to our people in Cuba and all of that. And then with the time, we kind of losing that Afrocentricity a little bit. And when we start, talking more in general and just and things like that. And I see it, it's kind of a global thing.
globally. You're
You
saying
know what I'm saying?
globally, you
Yeah,
see that.
yeah, yeah. I kind of see that happening globally and obviously in the States as well. When and how do you think that happened, man? That we kind of lost that? Because today I know in the States there's even all these crazy movements where they like, I don't know if I could call them movements, but they think they have more proximity to the system, and they think they better than other Africans because they have a passport, and things like that.
Bro,
So
bro.
you know what I'm saying? So well, how do you think we got to that, man? Wendy?
You know what? While you was talking, I was thinking in my head. I was like, I don't even want to get into no long, diatribe about like, yo, how did it happen? But I mean, there's a lot of different things. I think in my younger years, I was more prescribed a lot of conspiracy theories, and when I say conspiracy theories, not how people say conspiracy theories, like it's a conspiracy that, you know, that certain things are happening that you don't know about. And I still think that there are things that are directly like, there's a body of, people that's like, yo, we're gonna do this and we ain't gonna let everybody know.
Mm,
But I think a lot of stuff is just capitalism in and of itself will sell anything.
hmm
And it'll always kind of go to the lowest common denominator. And certain things like lust and, fun and joy and, I mean, all these different things, whatever, they tapping into that. And I think when hip hop went more radical, I mean, back in the day, I think that was just a move that we were doing because we were like, oh, we got this platform. And when I say we, our people that we're doing that just, push something through and it made money, it was popular, whatever at a certain time. But trends happen, different things happen. And I think once an alternative to that type of music that was dangerous to the status quo started becoming popular, they started pouring money into that. They started, more people got signed into
hmm
that,
hmm
and I think it's an organic thing. Is basically what I'm trying to get to. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it
because
happened.
of capitalism, because of the
Yep.
nature of capitalism, because of the nature of just like people want to escape. That's another thing. Like the shit that we do, I do, we do. There's times, like I be around radical communities, activists, different people that know what's up. But I also be around regular motherfuckers that's just like they ain't even trying to hear all that. You know
hmm
what I mean?
hmm
And there's certain homies of mine. They're like, I do what I do, and I'll be like, yo, check this out, and they'll listen to it right there and be like, oh, that's good, that's dope, that's whatever. But when we moving around, having a time, we're probably, they're probably listening to something that isn't revolutionary culture. You know what I mean?
hmm
Something that might even, if you really look at it, might be counter-revolutionary, something that dumbs us down, something that deals with the escapist thing. So I think, to me, I think it's just the nature of things and how things go. But there was this like thing going around on the internet or something about some meeting that happened with like labels and like certain hip
Yeah,
hop
I heard.
artists back in like the 90s or something with Bone Thug was part of it. And they were like telling them like, we don't want you to talk about certain things. We're trying to whatever, this conspiracy behind it. And are things like that true? I mean, I don't put it,
Right.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be a thing. But I think um, people busting their ass every day working, 40, 50 hours a week,
Yeah.
whatever, for them to then double down and be like, I'm about to listen to Nessa's song,
Yeah.
talking about there's more of us than them, might not be on the top of their radar. They might want to listen to Young Thug or some shit,
Yeah.
or Travis Scott, and just
No
zone out or
doubt.
have a good time type shit. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I
no
hear you.
disrespect to Young Thug
No,
or
no.
Travis Scott. You know what I mean? Everybody do what they got to do, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, no doubt. I hear you, man. It's kind of like the continuation, like capitalism and white hegemony. It kind of takes you there with time. That's what has to happen as the oppression continues. That's kind of like,
They set they set things up. It's kind
yeah,
of like, you know what
yeah.
I
It's
mean?
by
It's like
design. Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? Like certain things are in place, and then
yeah,
it's like a domino, if you will.
yeah.
Like you put it in, it's like, oh, okay. Nobody cares about revolutionary culture and hip hop. Okay, cool.
Mm,
Oh, women are getting disrespected. Oh, this kids, getting sex trafficked. This happened. All this. It's like if you go back to the beginning, it's connected to
right.
white supremacy and capitalism,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah. Let's get back to you a little bit, man.
Okay.
Talk about A likes, man. Your group. I love what y'all with all of that, man. I used to be listening to that still to this day, man. I still listen to your albums. Talk to
Respect.
me a little bit about that, how y'all built that, and your connection also with the RBG movement.
So A Likes was a group, myself and my partner in the group, K, A Black. We met down in Tallahassee. He was down in Tallahassee at the same time that I was in Tallahassee. Kay was part of the Heads in the Attic collective or group or whatever that included Stick, Tahir, Abu, Pizzazz, a few artists that was in Tallahassee at the time. They had a house that it was like a collective house. It was like kind of like a frat house, except for it wasn't no fraternity. It was just
Right.
like there's just homies that got a crib together, and they had an attic, and that's where the studio was at.
Dope.
And they called the Heads in the Attic. So they were all down there, a little older than me. When I got down to Tallahassee, I would hear about the homies and be like, "Oh, okay, there's some
Mhm.
cats doing some stuff over there." And then me and Kid linked up, through mutual friends or whatever. And when I first linked with Kay, Kay's a master MC, like rap with Big Daddy Kane as a teen and different things and
Mm,
all this other shit. Like I say, he's little older than me. And I was just kind of getting into my artistry, you know what I
right.
mean? And
Right.
to my like, all right, I'm gonna do this rap shit for real. Like I was spitting freestyles and different things, whatever, but I didn't really know structure and bars and different things like that, whatever. And here comes this dope MC that had like a very concrete like energy with the way he way he did his thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time we was like all in a cipher, everybody spitting their little hot raps, you know what I mean, 32 bars, mad words, blah blah blah. And then he came in and spit something that sounded like a song. To me, it sounded like Mobb Deep or something. It had like a chorus, it had
Right.
like a direction, a concept, and all this. And it was just casual. It wasn't like he was
Mm,
presenting the song. And I was just like very interested in working with him.
mm,
So long story short, I was like, yo, we should work together. And one thing led to another. We started working together. It was supposed to just be one song type thing, like a little collab song. And it ended up being like real good and doing more. And Kay was like, we should be a group. And I was like, sure, like, let's figure out a name. And we went with the name A Likes because we're both studying lessons, 5% lessons.
yeah.
And A Likes means people of like minds,
Mm,
like in layman's terms. It's a term from the 5% nation that basically, means we're A alike. Like you have asymmetrical, like
yeah.
doesn't mean we're the same. It means that
We're
we
aligned.
share
Yeah,
we're aligned exactly. And that's actually, all these years I never said aligned alike. We're
yeah.
aligned. You know what I mean? But so we formed a group. We started, working on stuff, doing shows, hitting up radios, college radio stations, doing all that. And the homies all moved up to New York from Tallahassee to basically, you know, try to do this music thing for real. And at the time, if you really want to do some music thing, you can't really stay in Tallahassee. Like the South hadn't really had its thing. You
Develop
had
it.
Outkast and Ghetto Boys and a few other cats, but it ain't like how Atlanta runs shit
Yeah,
now
yeah.
or, whatever. And like I said, pre-internet, like you go where the money at if you want to do something real. So we went to New York, and that's kind of where things took off. Like we started just working, doing all the underground shows, doing mad shit. At this time is when we linked up with my partner Baby J, who I now work with now, the producer Baby J
Mm.
from the UK.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of indie projects, doing all that, and did Unsigned Hype in the Source magazine back in the early 2000s. Really, made a name for ourselves, and then we got signed Warner Brothers through Nervous Warner Brothers, the same imprint that had Smith and Wesson and Mad Lion and a
Mm.
few other people.
What year? What
So
year are we talking?
we're talking about like early 2000s, so like 2000 and
Yeah.
2005, 6, around
Yeah.
that time. Unsigned Hype, I think it was 2004. So we going
Okay.
back. Like I'm
Yeah.
grown,
Yeah.
I'm grown. Like
I'm up there with you,
I've
man.
been, you know what I mean? I've been in this game for years. I mean, me and animals, you know what I mean? But no, real rap, like we're in a certain cipher, like a certain cipher of homies. And in those days, even before that, our collective, as far as Dead Prez, A-Likes, Legal Tendencies, cats we was around, we was going by the collective name People's
Yeah.
Army.
Yeah.
This is before it was RBG.
Okay.
And you had like the core homies, most of us lived in Brooklyn. Some of the homies lived in the Bronx. But then we had like, a even bigger circle of like-minded artists like the Mos Defs, like Erykah Badu, like Talib Kweli, like, Immortal Technique, just different people that were all around, and we would all, see each other at different shows and
Yeah.
connect, and sometimes be at different, each other's cribs and working on things. So that's the community and the energy and the scene and the time that,
Yeah.
we really, did our thing. Like, and then we did that for a long time. We did that for like about A-Likes actively dropping records, probably like 10 years, maybe 11 years.
Mm.
Dropped like 5 mixtapes, 4 albums, different things. A lot of it is underground shit that you gotta, go through it. But we recently just put up the 2 albums that A-Likes and Baby J did, because Baby J was kind of like our main producer back then.
Okay.
In the early days of us doing stuff. There's a album called Live or Die and an album called Kill the Middleman that just went live on Spotify. So if you want to check out some
Yeah,
classic
those are
A-Likes,
re-release type shit.
yeah, like it was something that we've been talking about for a minute.
Yeah.
Being that I'm working with Baby J now,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
starting with the system don't work.
Right.
We've been kind of, us three been talking like, yo, should we put, like we were independent with that, so it's basically up to us to put it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So we gave the okay for it to go up, so it just went up. We were going to make a big announcement, but yeah, I mean sometimes you just push it up.
That's what's up,
Right.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
so I definitely encourage everybody to go check that out, man. That's good hip hop right there. But yo, see that time you were talking about, I think that's kind of like an important, like you just kind of mentioned it casually, but that's an important time in hip hop, man. That energy of all of y'all kind of like rubbing elbows with each other. And that's kind of like the energy that bled into Cuban hip hop as well, because
Yeah.
that's at the time where I remember there was the huge festival in Havana. I don't know if you knew about that. It was a festival where in Havana, Cuba.
What's the name of it?
They went down there with the Malcolm X grassroots, and I know Dead Prez
Yes,
went
yes,
down there.
MXG.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
Like, so that
I
was in
remember.
Alamar. Alamar is like the capital of hip hop in Cuba, and that energy bled into Cuban hip hop big time. But I feel like at that time it wasn't just hip hop in New York as well. It was a lot of just African culture. I know it was a lot of African scholars giving lectures. You know what I mean? And also like the holistic African holistic wellness community was alive. You know what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
feel like that's the culture that I'm talking about, that I think that is important and that we kind of need. Like it's the same like when you speak about, our people, obviously they go through so much shit. People have 2, 3 jobs and we're tired, so we're looking for kind of like an outlet. But I feel like there was a time where we found joy, kind of like found joy in the struggle, meaning like it was just part of our culture. So even though we wasn't some conscious shit, we were still able to get away through our culture. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of feel like that's the important thing that we kind of need to bring back in some ways, but on some new shit, but fresh. But you know what I mean? Kind of get back to that where our culture is revolutionary because we're oppressed. So there's no other way to you know what I'm saying? And
No,
I feel like you
I
do a
agree with
great
you fully.
job through your art, you know what I'm saying, of that, you know. But yeah,
Thank you.
go ahead,
Thank
go
you.
ahead. Go ahead. I cut
No,
you
no,
off.
no. Like I'm just agreeing with you fully, bro. Like I think that going into the last question or the question before you asked about like when did this change? Like I don't blame people for wanting to
Mm,
escape into spaces using their art and culture to escape and not deal with these issues. But like even in a microcosm of just day-to-day life, like
mm,
you can't keep running. You know what I
mm.
mean? If you want to solve the issue, you got to kind of deal with some of the pain and convert that pain into your purpose. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, oh, whatever. If you do that in life, you're just gonna keep, you're
Yeah,
always gonna be running.
keep getting worse. Yeah.
And yeah, and when I look around, sometimes, you get disappointed or like I don't say demoralized because like our job, as using culture for revolutionary means is to stay inspired and keep going. But sometimes you look around, and you be like, damn, people don't care
Yeah.
about shit.
I
But
know.
but getting this money,
I feel you.
you know, for guys chasing some chick or
Yeah.
like just being caught up in the hedonism type shit. And I like to have fun. I like to, do certain things
Yeah.
and I like to pay my bills and I like nice things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's more important things than that.
Mm-mm.
And I think it's more common sense than being radical
Yeah.
to take this approach.
No doubt. Yeah, and I also feel like you made a good point. Like it's important to say, like same here. Like I like nice things, I like to have a good time. But I feel like also the system has made our people think that revolutionaries, they don't have a good time. They don't, they don't dance. They don't have a nice time. They don't have nice things. They can't do none of that. They just got to be miserable their whole life. And that's part of the agenda, you know what I'm saying? To make us think,
Agreed.
you know what I mean? And so I think that's also our job to let it be known, like, yo, we have fun, we laugh, you know what I'm saying? We have a good time, and we just love our people, you know what I'm saying? And we're willing to do what's necessary, But
Indeed. Nah,
mhm.
salute.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, man. All right, the system don't work, man. Tell me about it, man. Ever since the first time I saw something about the system don't work, it was through shout out to Mike Flo, man. He was on the Vada Hoops podcast as well. Mike Flo. So he had a
Yeah.
shirt on. I was like, yo, that's dope, man. What's that? So big
Yeah.
ups to Mike Flo. Talk to me about the system don't work, man. How it started? What is it about?
Salute to Mike Flo. That's my brother right there, the homie. He's actually in Miami. Like
Yeah.
a few of us from up top, we're in Miami, so I see
Oh,
Mike
so
Flo
you
all the
stay in
time.
Miami now?
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
space in Miami right now. This is like if I turn this thing around to my window, there's palm trees
Oh,
outside
okay,
and
okay,
shit.
okay.
Yeah, no, I came down here a few years back. My mom's Dominican.
Okay.
When I was growing up in
Yeah, I
Philly,
heard that
she
on the
was
track. My bad. I heard that on the
Yeah,
track.
yeah, yeah, she was miserable. She was like, "It's
Mhm.
cold. I'm tired." And once her and my pop broke up, she was just trying to get somewhere warm. So my mom moved down here when I was like last year of high school. She moved down here, so she's been here for years. And I
Mhm.
would always come visit her, but she's getting older, and it's palm trees, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So I was
I
like, you
feel
know
you,
what?
man.
Let me get a place here too. And
Yeah,
I'm always in New York and Philly, so
no
it
doubt.
is
Yeah.
what it is. The system don't work. It's my current, art umbrella. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's what I myself, my partner, Baby J, and a few other homies, Life, Nim, a few other people that we work with. There's just an umbrella, and the system don't work started organically during the pandemic. Me and Baby J, like I said, we worked through ALIKES years back, and after we were stopped working actively, he started working with other artists, a lot of artists in the UK, Yogi, Malik, from Morris Delta, Skinny Man, all that. Like he was working in the UK.
Mhm.
Once we stopped working, and I started doing other projects. Had a project called Weekend Money that I did for years, and we didn't lose touch. We stayed in touch, but we just weren't actively working on music.
Right.
But anytime I would come to the UK to do shows or be on tour or just out in the UK, I would always tap in with him. And Baby J was always like, "Yo, we should work on some new stuff. We should work on some new stuff." And just because things were busy, it was a good like almost 10-year gap between
Mhm.
ALIKES and then us working the system don't work. And during the pandemic, the world shuts down, and everybody's checking in on everybody. I'm checking on him. I'm like, yo, what does it look like out there in the UK? Yo, this shit look crazy out here. You're like, yo, it's looking crazy. They shut everything down, this and the third. And I think like a month into the pandemic, it's like sometime in March, he was like, look, I know we've been talking about working for years, but we really, if we don't do it now, it's no excuse. Like we should,
Right.
like there's nothing to do, you know what I mean? Besides, whatever. So he started sending me some beats. And I would always get beats from Jay and listen to him, maybe write, but never, record him type thing. But we had time. So we started working. I remember the first song we did was a song called Rona, like Corona, but like, Rona. And it was just like, it just tapped back into that space. It's some boom bap shit, first of all. The project that I worked on right before Baby J, the System No Work stuff, was a project called Weekend Money, where I had this producer, his name was Baghdadi, this Palestinian Iraqi kid that lived in Brooklyn, hipster, that made like electros type stuff, trappy rhythms, whatever. So I had been working for a few years on a completely different sound than boom bap shit. And I still, would write to like boom bap, little instrumentals here and there. But I was itching to do that anyway, so I thought there was a good chance to do it. So when Jay first sent me them beats, I remember it just came to me like, yo, this reminds me of what we was doing with Aeolites. Right. Like it got that dark energy, that, lo-fi, dirty drums thing, and just all that whole energy. And we made the first song. We listened back to it. He was like, yo, this shit is kind of hard. You want to do it? You want to do some more? So we just started working on more joints. And it was no plan to, let's say, form, definitely we were probably thinking we'll put some stuff out. Yeah. But we weren't necessarily thinking like, oh, we're going to do a label and all this other type stuff. But once we had a bunch of songs together, we were just trying to, contextualize everything, frame everything, trying to come up with a name for the project. Right. And what we came up with, Jay, throwing different things around. I think Jay sent some, he was like, the system don't work. And I was just like, yeah, I like that. Like, that shit works. Like, it's kind of long for it to be like a name for an umbrella, but it's kind of in line with what we do as RBG people, Army, Aeolites, you know what I mean? Like, our shit is always like, Dead Prez, first album, Let's Get Free. It ain't all this flowery poetry shit, which is beautiful. Like, there's nothing wrong with poetry, but sometimes, you gotta be direct. So Let's Get Free, or Aeolite's first album on Warner, I Eat You Eat, like, you know what I mean? So the system no work is in line with that. Like, there's no confusion what we're saying. You know what I mean? We're saying the system don't work, but there's like a double meaning to it. Or not double meaning, but a more nuanced meaning. And the full tagline is the system don't work, we work. So obviously we're not going to be named the system don't work, we work. But like when a lot of people interact with, like, we got the shirts and different things. That's a whole other thing. It's also a clothing brand that we really push hard, and we're in stores and pop-ups and all that. Sometimes I have conversations with people that come up that might want to be a little snarky and shit and be like, yeah, system don't work. What does that mean? What do you mean the system don't work? Like, you got everything from people saying the system don't, it's not that the system don't work, it's working exactly how it's supposed to, but it's broken. You got, cats that say that. You got some people that's like, what do you mean the system don't work? You selling a t-shirt or you selling a sweatshirt or hoodie? Like, obviously it's like, nah, bro. Like, the system don't work. We're the ones, like, the people is the power. Like, so when people ask me, what is this about? It's a people empowerment movement. It's the independence of the system movement. It's saying, when you look at what's happening in Philadelphia with the sanitation strike, or what's happening with immigration on LA, or just different things, it's like, yo, we have the power. Like, as if we recognize that we're the ones that make this run. If we stop, everything stops. That's what the system work in in theme and energy and meaning is about. But as an art brand, the mission statement, if you will, is System No Work is a agi-prop art brand specializing in utilitarian garments, workwear, street art, and and music. So we basically create an umbrella that we can do creative works that speak truth to power, and also allow a platform for similar-minded artists to use culture as a weapon, to use hip hop as a weapon. You know what I mean? And to tell our stories. So we did one project in 2020 called 21st Century Blues. The design element for the album cover, it was 2020. There were a lot of protests going on because of the George Floyd thing, and just in general, that summer was just like everybody was on it. Like, so when we designed this cover for this vinyl, because one thing I told Jay, I was like, yo, if we work on a project, one thing is I want whatever it is, it needs to be on vinyl. I don't want to just have that shit parked on Spotify and people listen on their phone. I want physical product, whatever.
Yes.
He's like, all right,
Yes.
that's what we're doing. So we designed this cover right here to kind of like on some utilitarian function shit, like like a protest poster. So we gave it that feel with the font, almost like some late 70s or some shit. And we imagined like cats could take the the vinyl out, stick on the joint, and just take the vinyl or whatever, or just be rolling around with it. And when me, as a a art mind, as a kid, I was a drawing comic book kid. I said it in the song, whatever. When I went to FAMU, I was a graphic design major, so I was always into whatever. I always designed my shirts, flyers, covers, different things. So when I first saw it, the simplicity of this, I was just looking at it and I was like, not for nothing, I could see this. We could get this on clothes and different shit. Like, there's actually an order I'm about to ship out, but like, we're like, you know what I mean? I was just like, I was also interested in doing a clothing brand for years. I like fashion, but not bullshit like, oh, it's just, it got to have Gucci on it or whatever. It's just, I like clothes for real. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, let's put it on, I said, you know what? I'm going to take this design motif and I want to build a clothing brand behind it. Not merch, like rapper merch or tour merch, like actually think of this the same way Supreme or Off-White looks at clothing. You know what I mean? Like they have a brand ethos, they have a general thing that they do, and then they move with it. So what I did is I like a lot of I like military wear. Like it's just well designed. You know what I mean? It lasts forever.
Good quality.
You know what I mean? So I do a lot of repurpose. Well, we do a lot of repurposed military wear, work wear, and that's our thing. Like, you know what I mean? So I told Baby J, I'm gonna put energy into this. We're still doing the music. And he was like, I have no interest in doing a clothing brand, but rock out, bro. And then we'll do that. So since 2020, a lot of people here in Miami, Brooklyn, Philly, different places, like we've sold thousands of pieces. And it's around. So that's a lot of people know us through the clothing. You know what I mean? As far as the music, the first album is a pandemic. People bought vinyl, people listened to it, and that definitely it caused some traction, but it was a new project. So the algorithm on Spotify or whatever might not, whatever. So it took a couple projects. And then we released this project.
The Price of Bread, huh?
Yeah, The Price of Bread. Like this is Baby J on the design. Us going back and forth. We're very collaborative in the sense that, we'll come up with ideas. You're like, what do you think about this color scheme? Or what do you think about this idea? He likes to look at a lot of like old propaganda posters and different things. So we just play around with it. And we came up with that project in 2023. Conway the Machine is on that joint. Fat Tony, Coach Slim. It's a bunch of people. So like
mikeflo is on there too.
Mike Flo, bless that Dollar to the Fire joint. Also got Blade, Logic from Brixton. My man Antoine from the I think he's from the Bay. But long story short, so those are the two projects that we've released thus far. And then next up, what we got coming up is There's More of Us Than Them album that it's been in the can for a minute. Like we were supposed to drop something in the wintertime, but like I said, Baby J sent some new beats, and I was just like, let's slow cook this. So we've released like 5 songs from this album that's coming out, and that's about to come out in August. So yeah, There's More of Us Than Them. It's a platform. We also have an artist, Life, one of my homies from Queens. Dope MC that we've been releasing some projects. He just dropped a joint. Myself, I'm on it, and one from their president on it, and it's called African Name, and that shit is hard as shit.
It's
like
dope. I heard it. I listened to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the link to that also in the description as well.
Salute.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, salute, man. The system don't work. Super dope. Everything, man. The concept, the work behind it. I love it, man. Salute for that one.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you mentioned the sanitary strike, man, in Philly. I got one of my comrades that's from Philly. He was telling me about it, and there was also he helped lead a march last Saturday or the one before that for Mumia, a free Mumia march. But yeah, I know that the sanitary strike right now is big, and I know I seen recently LL Cool J. Yo, I didn't expect that from LL Cool J. Props for that one. He spoke and he was like, "Listen, I'm not performing, man. He showed respect to the joint. So
Yeah, he basically said he ain't crossing them picket
yeah.
lines, which is going into what we were saying about when hip hop shifted into like not caring as much or not being
Hmm.
revolutionary culture as much. To see LL do that, I gained some respect for him.
Yeah.
If he just decided to perform and get his money and whatever, I wouldn't think nothing of it. I'd be like, all right, it
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
it is. That's where people at.
Yeah.
They're not focused. But I also think that even him protesting by not performing is also work of people in the community and activists and people that actually probably gotten his ear, like
Yeah.
what's happening in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like these sanitation workers are striking for a living wage. Like they're getting paid, like I think the average sanitation worker getting paid like 46,000 a year. And the thing with the sanitation strike, like I'm in Philly a lot, but I'm not necessarily tapped into that effect. So I'll see it on the news, or I
Hmm.
don't really watch the news, but you see it on the gram or something,
Yeah.
or
You hear
somebody to
about
talk
it.
about it. But basically, like you got trash piling up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? People are
Yeah.
like, nah, we're done, and this is going into the system don't work, we work. Like, oh, where y'all want to play?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we're done. Like, pick
Exactly.
your own trash up.
And when we
But
stop, nothing works.
you know what I mean? We
It's a
could shut it
wrap.
down.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
be free
Right
right
now.
now.
Yeah.
We could press a button. If everybody's on one mind, we could do it.
That's an
And I would
example.
look
Yeah.
at, you know what I mean? I would look at the sanitation strike as like a small fight within the general war, of like, the workers, the working class, we're the foundation of this. And, the way the system works, the way capitalism works, and increasingly, like they're putting the focus on billionaires, the ones that are,
Yeah.
rich, not like, oh, I got a couple millions. Like we're focused on them and making sure they good and their business is running, whatever, and then treating workers like, like whatever, like it don't matter.
Like they're in
So
the like people are interchangeable. Like it don't matter. Like fuck it. We'll get another one.
exactly. And like if you look at it, like actually I heard that actually last night or something, like maybe like in the middle of the night they reached some agreement or whatever, right? I don't know what the agreement is, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? So we're not gonna get into that. So but the sanitation workers striking is one offensive, if you will, or one, like little, one battle that even if we win that battle, we're still caught up. You know what I mean? And when they're saying they're going for a living wage, with inflation the way it's going, like prices going up and all that, but wages aren't going up. Yeah, the sanitation workers, let's say they get a victory and they get 10 more thousand a year or whatever they agreed upon. Then you got the teachers that they still fuck. And then you got the average, let's
Yeah.
say non-unionized worker that works at Walmart, or somebody that gig works driving Uber or Lyft. And then if you get away from even the workforce, you just got cats hustling on the street that's still caught up. And the general thing is like when people complain about, let's say, gentrification as an example,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, gentrification, like it's fucked up. What we need to do is this. And they're thinking in a reform mind state of like, we could fix a couple things. But it's like, nah, like we're gonna realize there's more holes to plug. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like in general. So
Yeah. Oh,
I'm thankful that, if they got the agreement that works for them, that
yeah.
happened. But the problem, that's just one
Persist.
little,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one problem, and the
It's a
system's gonna keep
band-aid.
going.
It's a band-aid. It's a
There
little
we go.
band. Yeah. Yeah. It's a band-aid.
Exactly.
But we need to understand that we need to get to the root of the problem. That's the importance of being radical. Being a
Right.
radical. That's what it's about. We got to get to the root of the problem. If not, we're always going to be, on the surface, just to get a little bit better, and then it goes right back to the same. The whole thing with minimum wage and raising minimum wage and all that is really that we need a maximum wage. You know what I'm saying? We need a maximum wage.
What?
We can't
Nigga,
have
that's just hard.
we
That's just
can't have
hard.
motherfuckers making 40 times what someone else is making. Like, it don't make no sense.
I mean, that's it. That's it
Yeah.
in and of itself. Like when people was kind of on social media, I would see people basically like coming super hard at billionaires. Like, yo, we don't need no billionaires. Fuck billionaires. Whatever, whatever. Like on one end, yeah, fuck them. Like I don't care about Bezos and
Mm.
fucking Elon Musk and Bill Gates, whoever, right? But to myself, I'm thinking, well, that's the game. like that's the game in and of itself, like, right? Like it's to get as much as you can, right? That's the way this thing is set up, right?
Mm-mm-mm.
Like, so how would we like we make a cap? Like, and even that would be kind of like a reformy type thing of like
Yeah,
you can only make so much, but it definitely would help the situation if
yeah,
you don't have a few people hoarding all the resources and all the wealth. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So having a maximum wage would be I like that. I'm gonna use that. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No doubt, man. Yeah, yeah. So, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming through, man. I got a couple little more questions.
you can keep going, bro. I cleared out time. Like
That's
you're a
what's up.
real
That's
one.
what's up.
I,
Yeah,
I,
appreciate it.
this ain't just like little hip hop podcast. We're gonna talk about the album, promote. Like definitely, when you're doing projects, you want to promote, you want to let people know
Yeah,
about things and all that. But when you get to connect with like minded folk,
mm,
like it's like this is a conversation. Like we could do this on the
that's
block.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It could be a barbecue right here. We could just be
Yeah, yeah,
talking about
we gonna do both, man. We're gonna promote the projects and we're gonna get a little bit deeper into things, man. No doubt.
that exactly.
But yeah, yeah, let's talk about, the global situations, particularly as it comes to our people, man, to African people. There's a lot going on these days. Like, on the continent, we see what's going on with the Sahel states.
Hmm.
I got one of my comrades is now in the Togo. The people are rising up in the Togo. It's crazy.
Hmm.
There's a dictatorship going on, a Western-backed dictatorship going on in the Togo.
Right.
All over South America, we already know there's a lot going on. Globally, the top of the system, they're destroying our ecosystems. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like we got so much going on. And to some degrees, in certain aspects, I kind of see the youth in certain aspects kind of waking up, but at the same time, there's a lack of political education, you know what I'm saying, in general. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you see the situation for our people advancing?
I think it's what Tale of Two Cities. The beginning of it, they go, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times type shit. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, like you said, on one end, and when I say the best of times, I'm talking through our eyes. Like on one end, I do see a general sense where people seem like they're waking up, and I'm saying
Mm.
our people, just people in general.
Yeah.
And then on another end, I see people just like I just sometimes shake my head like, wow, we're fucked. Like this shit
Same.
is
Same here,
like
man.
how are we gonna change things before the world implodes? You know what I mean? For a long time, once you get a certain level of political education and just kind of like see things for what it is, I know the way I internalized it. I was like, oh, so we're in a race not just to get free. Like if we don't check this, the world will implode. The climate change in the system and all that. Like it's just gonna eat itself. Like that's the nature of capitalism. It eats itself. So
Yeah.
we're like our struggle to get free, liberated as a people is not just this is a black only a black national struggle. We do
Hmm.
have a black national struggle because white supremacy has done since the beginning
Yeah.
attacked us specifically, right? But just in general, what we're talking about here, and sometimes when I talk to white homies or just other homies that might not subscribe to be like they're all black or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, this is it is a race situation, and it also is a class thing. But then on top
Absolutely.
of that, a humanity thing.
Yeah.
It's
No doubt.
like capitalism is not in line with humanity. You know what I mean? So when I look at what's happening on the continent, where cats are, what I mean, you start seeing, certain things and people rising up and doing that. When you look at what's happening in South America, in the Caribbean, when you look at what happened in the States during the George Floyd time, which to me was like the first time in my adult life where I saw the average person being really like focused in on a real problem, as
Hmm.
opposed to it being the radicals or the left or the woke or whatever the fuck being
Yeah.
in tune with it. So I think part of that, a big part of that is knowledge is power. You know what I mean? And knowledge is, things you can, tangible things you can see, you can feel, you can hear, you can, what I mean, facts and all that. And I think social media, for all its warts and all its distraction and all that, is a big part of it. Like when the Arab Spring shit was happening, social media put us on this shit.
Mm.
Where before social media, and I ain't saying this about social media, but what I'm saying is I think we are seeing our shared struggle a lot clearer,
Yeah.
and we can empathize with each other. We can see the connection. We can see that we can get inspired. We can know that we're not alone in
Struggle.
our situation.
Mm.
So I think that has a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? Things have opened up. I think also generally we're in neocolonialism now, and like it's unraveling. Capitalism is buckling. You know what I mean? Like itself, like the way things have been going for hundreds of years is starting to reach a point where the contradictions are really starting to go like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
starting to do that.
Yeah.
It's like fault lines and an earthquake. It's like things are shaking up. Even when I see this Trump shit, right? I don't even like saying his name, but also whatever, right? I'm not even putting that much power in him. To me, people be like, "Yeah, it's Trump, it's Trump, it's Trump." I'm like, "Yo, if it was Kamala,
Yeah.
bombs are still gonna be being dropped. If it was
Right. Right.
Biden,
We
it could
still
have
need
been
to
over."
be in the streets, even if it's Kamala.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? During Obama time, like I remember we had a song called "No Savior," like that we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about. Like,
Yeah.
ain't no saviors, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we need to do this. And when I look at Trump and the audacity and the obnoxiousness of his whole like approach, and the way he communicates, to me, is actually the best way for us to see that the powers that be aren't in line with the people, aren't in line with humanity.
Mm.
He's not hiding it. He's just like, yeah, we're gonna be snatching up
Yeah.
kids and people out of
Straight
the
up.
whatever with the ICE shit. We're gonna drop some like they dropping bombs, whatever. We're gonna turn that place into a resort. We're gonna turn Palestine into a resort. After we done took it over. Biden might have not said that, but Trump's saying it because
Yeah.
he's kind of like ripping the mask off. Like if you ever been if you ever been in some street shit, like when you get stuck up and they got a mask and they take the mask off, that's letting you know, like, yeah, it's me, nigga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's where we at, and I think that's where we at. We're in the I don't want to say end of days and get all apocalyptic, but time is running out
Yeah.
on what's been going on for years, and it's about to get funky. Like things are gonna get worse before they get better, but our
Yeah.
future's bright. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
No
that's
doubt.
very clear. But we have to like stay connected and know that we have a shared struggle, and we do have to know, and not the shameless plug type shit, but the title to the album, "There's More of Us Than Them." It ain't just a random saying. Like we like
Yeah.
as revolutionaries, as artists, we think about what we're saying and different things, and like it was important. I was like, what can be said to connect something? Like I don't want to just say this and that. Like, what's the most important part of this equation? And it's the people.
Yeah.
And our connection and us knowing that we're a community and us saying there's more of us than them. It's like, don't look at these problems like they're insurmountable. Don't look at the system like it's some giant monster that can't be destroyed. Like one of our taglines with People's Army was the ants will conquer the elephant. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
basically that's where we at right now.
Yeah.
So I would be like, yeah, keep your I always say it to all my homies or my peoples, I'm like, keep your family close, keep your friends close, and like connect and like and let's build. And
That's right.
everybody don't have to be in a protest.
No.
Everybody don't have to be in a march. Everybody don't have to
No.
wear System Don't Work shirt. Everybody don't gotta be speaking radical language and all that. And one thing that I think with even the term radical, I know we take that, but if we break the word down, it's like what's radical about common sense? Like what's actually radical, if you really look at it, is a system that celebrates and promotes profit over the people, or profit over
Mm.
everything, or money over everything. That's crazy as fuck.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt, man.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think you made a good point, man. I like to say it's about liberation for all, man, and the restoration of our ecosystems. And I do
Yes,
I do think that that it starts with us, with African people, because globally we've been oppressed and we're at the bottom of society pretty much on every corner of the globe. You know what I'm saying? When you look even on the continent, what I'm saying, our own people are at the bottom. Wherever there's other people, we're always at the bottom.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Crazy, even on the continent.
even on the continent, you know what I'm saying? So it starts with us, with African people, not only because our ancestors are the creators of civilization and everything, but also because, like I said, we've been the most oppressed throughout centuries, man.
It makes sense that we're the vanguard.
Yeah, no doubt.
It definitely does.
So yeah, that's where it's at. Let's get back to your album. Let's talk about it. The LP is dropping hopefully in August, right? There's more
That's
of us than them. Give us a little
yes.
bit, man. Tell us a little bit more about it. What you got? Can you tell us some features? Can you tell us, some things?
Yeah, nah, the album, all of this is a labor of love. You know what I mean? Like whether we're making millions or we're, you know, making a few $100 here or $1,000, whatever the fuck. Like that's secondary, especially at this stage of my journey as an artist. It's what brings me not only joy while I'm creating it, but also it just, you know, it makes sense. I've realized over the years that art, music specifically, is a device that I use to kind of like know what's going on in here and to connect, you know what I mean? And also be a voice for other people that might not know how to spit fire, you know what I mean? Whatever. But the project is dope as fuck. We have, like I said, we put out like five songs. With this album, what we chose to do, and partly like navigating the whole digital space with streaming services and all that, is like, as opposed to releasing like a couple tracks and releasing the whole album, what we chose to do is just like, we're gonna have a run of a couple months where we're releasing a song like once every 3 weeks. And just kind of like, you know, if the way people are consuming music now, like you work on an album for, let's say 6 months, a year, however long it takes you to do an album, you drop an album, people devour it
Couple
because
days,
it's so many,
boom, a wrap.
and they're done with it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a way of piecemealing and stretching out the, you know what I mean, the energy of it. And also, you know, studying shit. So we started doing that. We released, the first song we released was a joint called Election Year in the Trap. Classic Ness, classic Airlights type shit where we talking about political energy and talking about things coming at the system or speaking truth to power, but from the point of view of the average cat on the block. Like, what is election year in the trap? It was an election year last year with Trump and all that coming up. And it's just like, no matter what's going on, we still out here. Like, I said it in the song, I'm like, I don't even feel like spitting the bars on it, but basically I was hustling when fucking Obama was rocking, when Biden was rocking, when Bush was rocking. Shit, I'm from, you know, the 90s. I know when Clinton was rocking. Like, cats are still out here. So it's like all these things are changing, but the through line is our oppression. You know what I mean? So the first joint, Election in the Trap, dope beat, Jay made. He sent me like some sample beats. The first two projects that we did, these two, Jay wasn't sampling. Okay. He wanted to make it sound like samples, you know, detuning things and doing some, you know, Baby J magic to give it that feel. But he was like, he had a challenge where he was like, I don't want to sample. And then with this project, the first few songs that we had was that. But then out of nowhere, he was moving around. He was doing a lot of traveling. He was making a lot of tracks just on his iPad. And he said it was easier just to sample. So he's started doing that. And when he sent me that, I was just like, oh, you sampling again, bro? Okay, let's dig in. I was like, let's hold the album up. Like, send me some joints. And he's Election Year in the Trap, first joint that we dropped like back in late March, late Feb. Then the next joint we had was a joint called Delay, Deny, Defend, which is a wild joint where it's like, I don't even get into it. That shooting of the healthcare CEO by that dude Luigi, when that happened, like I think in the wintertime, on the bullets, the dude wrote Delay, Deny, Defend, which is some real, like, it was some real movie shit that somebody wrote some words on a bullet when they offing somebody, but it was basically off of a book called Delay, Deny, Defend about the healthcare system and the process that they do to basically undercut healthcare for the average person, whatever. Right. So I just used that as the title, but that song is fire. Things I had to do, Capitalism. That's the next joint.
The video's out, right? The video's out.
Yeah. The video to that joint, my man Sincere Y7 did that. Also produced by my brother Victorious. Then we did another joint called "There's More of Us Than Them," the title track to the album, featuring Galliano, this dope Colombian sister that we're actually collaborating on some more works. That came out right around the time when I went to the UK. I was in the UK for a month in May, wrapping up the album, doing some shows, went to the chip shop, did some shows in different parts of the country.
Shout out to the UK, man. You was out there in London?
Yeah, I was in London for a lot of it. I was in the Midlands. I was in Derby. I was in Coventry. I was in Kent. Wow. I was shout out to Blade. Okay. I was moving around. So that came out. And then the latest track we released is a joint called Nigga Power, in the acronym. And H.I.G. Whatever, off of what Tupac said, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished.
Okay.
And people are like, oh, should we say the word nigga? Is, as black people, what's our relationship to this word? And the song Nigga Power is basically, first verse is basically dealing with it. A lot of other artists have done the same concept, like Tribe Called Quest had Sucker Niggas.
Yeah.
And just different people where it's like, should we say the word nigga or not? It's like, yo, it's part
gonna
of
be an
our
eternal debate, man.
You know what I mean? Like we could talk about it forever. So
Yeah.
like I chose to put it in the song. But the next joint, we got a song coming out. I'm not probably like in 2 weeks. That's gonna set up the album, and then the album's gonna come out in the middle of August. That's the plan right now. We're selling vinyl. You know what I mean? We're gonna have vinyl for it. We got cassettes that we're doing. These are all part of the
I saw the
project.
cassette. That's dope. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now, with this project, with the last project, Price of Bread was feature heavy. Like Price of Bread, we had Conway the Machine from Griselda. Like I said, Fat Tony,
Yeah.
Logic, Blade, Antoine, Coach Nem, just mad people on the album. With this project, just the nature of it, I was moving around a lot. Like I always like working with different artists, but literally it was just me and Jay working. We had the singer Galliano on it, and we got one track, Logic and Coach Nem. It's possible that somebody else might sneak on, but the deadline's coming up. So, like, if you don't turn your verses, you know what I mean? It's that thing. So, yeah, that's what it is. There's more of us than them. August 2025 coming soon. And it's that people music. You know what I mean?
Dope.
It's that hip hop is a weapon, and it's clear. Like, yeah, it's coming.
That's what we need, man. I'm gonna put down the link so that everybody can check out what you got going on there. Before I let you go, man, let's talk a little bit about hoops, man.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about hoops.
Yes.
So Philly, man, that's your squad, right? Coming from Philadelphia, imagine the Sixers, you know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, man. You know, y'all had the process going on for a little minute, and now it seems like the process it's kind of like it has stopped a little bit. We got Embiid, man.
Bro.
He's so great, man. But right now, we don't know if he's gonna be able to get back to the injuries are taking over, man, for him. So, what's going on over there, man?
Unfortunately, we stuck last year, bro. Like, and I say we. We were just talking about some real shit. You know what I mean? So this is like with basketball, like growing up in Philly. You know what I mean? We're huge into sports, especially football and basketball.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so everybody's like super excited. I was actually in Philly when the Super Bowl happened, and it's just the camaraderie, everybody linking up, and the excitement is always there. But the Sixers specifically, bro, like when you do what we do and think like how we think, like you see how teamwork, how it applies. Like there's a lot of like parallels I make between real life and in basketball. And one thing about the Sixers, even with Embiid, like I like Embiid, respect to Joel, our Cameroonian brother.
Yeah.
But leadership. Like I don't want to get too poetic with it of like how it parallels what the people dealing with. The Sixers have lacked leadership for a long time. You know, I mean, if you look at every team that's won the thing, they got a strong leader. And like Joel, like we had it for a minute when we had Jimmy Butler, like a few years back.
True.
And I think, Joel is a leader to a certain extent, but he's a super talented player. But to really do anything, you know what I mean? You need that. And when I look at the process, of tanking for years, so you can get a bunch of picks, whatever, like, yeah, the Sixers, I think they were always behind. Like, when we were getting all them draft picks during the process, if you look at it, they were all centers. Because historically, all the way back, the best teams had always good centers. So that's what they did. But the league changed.
Yeah,
the league changed and went to a shooting league when Golden State was winning threes and a wing league and all that. So we over here trying to roll the dice on centers. And luckily we got one of the best centers in Joel, but we wasted a lot of picks. Then we got Ben Simmons. Mental health is real and shit. Yeah. He went left with it. So I would say, the process where we at right now. Last year, Joel was hurt, and we had a horrible year, and we were lucky enough to get the number 3 pick, and we got this new kid, VJ Edgecombe, who looks like a hardworking leader, young leader, but like he has that pedigree. We got Maxey, we got we'll see if we could get the dude Grimes signed or whatever, and actually have a chance.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Philly does. I got a group text, me and my Philly homies, and that be the reason why we talk a lot of times. Like we might not talk about nothing else, but
Yeah.
like, yo, you saw that trade,
Yeah. You
or
said
you saw that, whatever. And we start talking. Like I got one homie who's like a super critical, damn near hater. He gonna know I'm talking about him, but
right.
you know what I mean. He'll always be critical of shit. I got another homie that's like, yo, you need to stop hating, and me, I just be like, just having a good time with my homies talking about it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and we'll see where it goes. There's some optimism.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah. I mean,
optimism in
there's
the
still some
city.
good pieces on the roster. Yo, Maxi, he got game, man. He's real nice. Uh, like I said, if Embiid comes back healthy, Maxi, there's a few guys, y'all could build back up pretty quickly, but
You
you
think
know.
we could beat the Knicks?
Good question. Good
You're a Knicks
question.
fan, right? You're a Knicks
Yeah,
fan,
big
right?
time, man. Big time. I started rock when I was a kid, man. My brother used to live in New York, my older brothers. So, when I started playing ball, it was Patrick Ewing and John Starks at the time. And he brought me the love for the Knicks, man, ever since I was a kid. And then I always rocked with the Knicks. We went through some tough years, man. Real tough years. And now
Oh,
recently, now it's looking good, man. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think about the Knicks firing Tibbs like that, man?
I mean, I think people were up in arms over it more than they should have been. Like, I
Yeah,
kind of thought that to myself. I was like
it was time.
I was watching the series. I was just like, they're gonna fire his ass after
Yeah,
this. And it's kind of fucked up because the Knicks were horrible for so many years, and then Tibbs came in and reset the culture, Jalen Brunson and all that. And I think it's a business.
yeah, it's
One,
the business, man.
I think it's actually Mike Brown is going to be good for y'all.
Yeah, he might
Uh,
be.
I do think that Tibbs' whole stubbornness with playing bench players, and I know that some people could say, well, he didn't have nobody on the bench, but OKC and Indiana showed you where the league is going with
Yeah.
this whole the first apron, second apron shit of
Hmm.
like you can't have a top heavy team.
Nah,
You
you
have
got
to go into your bench. You have to
yeah. If
develop
you
them.
want to
You got
contend, yeah, if you want to contend, you got to play deep, man.
I think Tibbs burnt y'all out. Like
Yeah,
so yeah. Somebody new in. Let's see what happens.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be rooting until y'all play until the Knicks play the Sixers. I'll root for the Knicks. I'll
That's
be like,
what's
oh
up.
yeah,
That's
they
what's
did it,
up.
they did it.
Hopefully, it's not Knicks Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, man.
I mean, remember 2 years ago
Yeah,
that shit got heavy.
that shit. It did. It
That was
did.
that was one of the best series like ever. Like even though it went 6 games and it was only the second round,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
It was
shit was
it was a
epic.
tough
That shit.
series. That's when I seen how nice Maxi was, man. But also to be fair, Embiid, we seen it, his knees was even bleeding and shit. Like I know he was going through some pain.
I mean, he got injured earlier that year and
Yeah,
came back really too early, and he basically sacrificed last year
yeah,
for that playoff series.
yeah,
And then he went to the Olympics. Like, yeah,
yeah.
Embiid pissed people off. Like, yo, bro, if you go to the Olympics and play in the Olympics, how you not gonna be right by training camp type
For
shit?
for
So,
no reason too, because it's not like the United States needs him. Like they didn't even need him over there. And him,
uh,
I wish he would have went. I wish he would have went to play for Cameroon, but that's another story.
yeah, yeah, you know how that go. You know how that go.
Yeah, 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 for sure. But yeah, man, I kind of like the off-season moves that we made, man. I like Yabusele, the big man that we traded for. I like the fact that we got
Yeah,
Jordan
that y'all got from
Clarkson.
us. Yeah, y'all,
Yeah,
y'all got from
exactly.
us.
That's true. That's true. Yabusele was yeah. Brothers from the Congo too, man. And
Oh, word, word,
yeah,
word.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's
French, French, French brother, but
yeah,
his
from
his
France, but
family.
via the Congo, yeah. And
Okay.
and yeah, same thing. Brothers playing for the national teams is something else, but yeah, yeah, the French basketball team also is all African diaspora, man. It's crazy.
Which is, I mean, like Europe, obviously because it's Europe, we think about it like, oh, it's white, right? So for us, looking at that and being like, especially before you know what's going on, you're looking
Yeah,
like it's France, but the whole team black, and it's the same shit with football, with soccer and shit, whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
It's like you're looking at these European teams and it's like it's all black, right?
yeah.
And then it's like, but wait, America is actually some quote unquote a white
Absolutely.
country, if you will. And you look at the
The
NFL and the
squad, yeah,
NBA, and it's all black people
yeah.
or a lot of black people. You're like, this is an interesting dynamic. I don't know if I should like
Hmm.
any of this shit. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Exactly.
like, let me ask you a question. What you think about Wemby?
Wemby, I think he's the truth, man. He could be real good, man. I hope he
He's gonna be
keeps
the best player.
Yeah,
He's
I
gonna be the
think
best player
I
in
hope
2 years.
he keeps working on his whole body, make sure he doesn't get hurt, because at that size, you can easily get hurt. But if he keeps on, like I know he's doing a lot of yoga and things like that, strengthening, making sure his body's straight, yo, he could be something real special, man. Because the way it's like imagine like a KD even bigger. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
what.
he's like a
No, that's
big man, he's moving like a guard, and now he's even bigger. He can shoot the three, he can dunk without jumping almost. Like it's crazy.
no. He's special. You ever seen him play in person?
I went to one game in the Olympics. The Olympics was in France, and
That's right.
France. I went to France versus Brazil, man. I wanted to boycott the Olympics, but my brother hooked me up with some tickets, and I went over
Gotcha.
there, man. France versus Brazil, and Wemby, yo, it's crazy. He looks amazing. Like his wingspan, everything is just so crazy. Like you think dude went by him, and he just whoop, and he still swats this shit because he's so fucking huge. So like, it's amazing. He's
He's
something
an
special.
alien.
Yeah, he's
He's an
something special.
alien, bro. Like I every time I see him, like there's some angles that you catch him playing, you be like,
Yeah,
yo, that boy's from another place.
yeah, he is.
Like the French game, I need to catch it. I need to next time I'm out that way. I would love to catch a game. Like
Yeah,
what's the like basketball out there in
yeah,
Paris or in France? Like
yeah.
what's
France got some real good basketball. Paris actually just now the K54. I don't know if you ever heard of the K54. It's an international streetball tournament, and it's
okay,
like the biggest thing. All the pros go in there and they hoop. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Jordan sponsor, so you got a lot of guys from Jordan brand coming through and all of that. But it's like a big time streetball tournament, huge, and it's in Paris every summer. But the league here, the league is good, and like the first division, Paris won actually this year. Paris won the French national championship in the first division, and they just built their team like a couple years ago. But obviously they got a lot of money over there. But it's like a new squad, so it was kind of dope. So they're building something. Um, Monaco is also one of the top teams over here. They have Mike James. You know Mike James, that used to be in the league, light skinned brother. He plays for Monaco. They are a really good
okay,
squad. I think they lost in the championship to Paris. Um,
okay,
yeah, so I mean the league is really good. They got like a couple 2 to 3 teams that's in the Euro League. The Euro League is like where all the best clubs from Europe play, and they battle it out. So the French league got like 2 to 3 teams in the Euro League, and like I would say like
okay.
the first three divisions, like even the fourth division is pretty good over here. So you got a few divisions that there's some good level, man. So I
Okay.
got to play a little bit in the third division, which is still professional, and then
Mhm.
I played a little bit semi-pro, like fourth division and things like that. But
Okay.
yeah, there's some players, man. There's some players.
Basketball is it's growing. David Stern and them did their job to make it a global situation
Yeah,
and did a lot of promoting in Europe and Africa and all that. Masai Ujiri and all of them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a global game. It's
It
dope.
is. It is.
As a fan of basketball, as a kid coming up, watching MJ, watching AI, watching
Mm-hmm.
Barkley, watching fucking whoever, and then seeing you know people from like the best player on our team is from Cameroon. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
sports I think has some value,
Yeah.
obviously, with all the lessons you learn in sports and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, and it's also entertainment. So yeah, that's dope. I need to get more into the international game. Like besides the Olympics, like I don't be watching FIFA.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like I be watching this shit when I get a chance. Like also
Right. Right.
I don't have the NBA package on my TV. I'll be like,
Mm.
if I get that, I'm gonna be watching it too much. So I just catch games when I can,
Yeah. Yeah. For
find them.
sure. For sure. For sure. But yeah. The league is nice over here. It's nice.
What part of
It's
France you
evolving.
in?
I'm in Rennes right now. Rennes is about an hour and a half train ride away from Paris. And
Okay.
yeah, I've been here for like since the pandemic, man. Me and my family, we came this way. We were in Cuba, but pandemic got rough. It got rough in Cuba as far as just everything, man. Life got real difficult, and I had me and my wife. We had two young kids, man. So we was like, yo, we struggling to make sure we get everything to eat. You know what I'm saying, and everything. So we made a move this way. One of my homies, one of my ex teammates, where we play professionally together here. He's from
Hmm.
Central Africa. He was
Okay.
coaching. He was coaching like a amateur team over here in Rennes. So he was like, "Yo, come through, man. You know what I'm saying? You come hoop with us a little bit. You coach you could coach the youth over here."
Hmm.
So I was like, "Yeah, for sure. I'm going out there, man." So yeah, so we're here,
Yo,
man, and we've been here.
well, two questions. One, Cuba. So, like I said, I'm in Miami now, and there's a bunch of Cuban folk here.
Mm.
Obviously, a lot of the Cuban folk here are cats that left Cuba because they went with what Castro was doing. So they're speaking about Cuba kind of like critically as
Mm.
far as the situation there. But I'm always curious, like, yo, life in a socialist country, like, what is it really like? And obviously, with all the sanctions and all the bullshit that has been done to Cuba, it's actually not even fair to say this is what life is like in a socialist country. Because there's certain people
Yeah.
that's like, yo, sometimes there's no food on the shelves and this and the third. Why would you want socialism? And it's like, I know the biggest situation, so I'm not gonna fall for that. But like,
Yeah.
what was it like day to day wise? Like, I mean, like, people spending money or like people, like, how do people, yeah, like, what is it like? Does everybody have the same house? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question,
If you
man.
will, I mean,
A lot of times our people don't like to speak about this, but for me, I grew up over there and I was in movements over there working with my people, you know what I'm saying, with Afro-Cubans. And so it's like a duty for me to actually say things, even though, some people don't like to say anything negative about Cuba, but I have to because, it's like a duty for me. Like my people sometimes they feel like, yo, we need the world to hear, you know what I'm saying? And so, like you said, first thing we got to understand is that, these Western countries, they don't want anything to prosper in Cuba. So, and they're doing all the necessary for that to happen. But the truth is also that there's a lot of things
right.
inside the country they're not working well. First of all, when it comes to our people, to Afro-Cubans, there's a lot of
Mhm.
racism going on. And, unfortunately, like everywhere
Right.
else, like I was talking about earlier, like we're at the bottom, so Afro-Cubans have it more difficult. They have the worst incomes, living in the worst neighborhoods. Things are more difficult for our people down there, unfortunately. And, that's just a reality. There's still a lot
In
of
Cuba.
racism. Yeah, in Cuba,
In
there's still a
Cuba.
lot of racism and a lot of things that haven't been addressed. You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted to address the class part. They kind of didn't want to address the race part. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
and when we go through a lot for trying to address the race part, you know what I'm saying? We get in trouble with the system when we try to, because they want to make it seem like, oh no, we're all Cubans. There's no such thing as, Afro-Cubans and this and that. We're all Cubans here and blah blah blah. But that's not the reality of how things are going. We can obviously see. So when we try to
mm,
organize as African people in Cuba, as black people, we have problems. We have problems. They don't want us to
mm.
organize as African people and things like that.
Got
But
you.
but we still, you know what I'm saying, we still got to do what we got to do. And I know a lot of our people that are in the so-called left don't like to talk about this a lot. It's kind of tough, but
Understood.
it's the reality of what our people go through down there, and it has to be said. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's difficult down there. It's difficult, and me and some of the comrades, what we really want to do is try to bring that Pan-Africanist vision, that global vision to our people down there that are specifically like activists and organizers down there to understand things from a global perspective. Because sometimes in Cuba, a lot of brothers and sisters haven't had the opportunity to travel, and sometimes they're stuck with only what they've seen down there, and they don't necessarily understand the global aspect of how the capitalistic system is responsible pretty much for all the shit that's going on around the world. Like it's a global system of oppression. And so we're trying to bring that
Right.
consciousness, to our people, and at the same time let our people outside of Cuba understand that, you know, African people in Cuba, like it's not going well for us down there, and we need to address that as well. So yeah.
Wow. What's the hip hop scene like there? Like where do people perform? Like, could we go to Cuba and rock? Right? Like
Yeah.
when this project comes out, I want to go to Cuba and rock. Like, how do we
Hey
do that?
man, yo, listen. Let me know, man, for sure. I'll link you up. If I can't make it down there, I'll definitely link you up with the comrades down there, with G-Rep Cuba and with everybody. Like the thing is down there with hip
Mm,
hop, there's no market for hip hop. So to a certain extent, it's good for some things, but it's not good for other things. Like, a lot of the people end up doing other shit because you need to live. So they end up singing reggaeton or some other shit.
got you.
So, but at the same time, it's good because you know that when you're doing hip hop, it's pure. You know what I'm saying? It's for the love of the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that
Right.
part of
It's not
that part of it
bastardized.
is good. So that part of it is good. But yeah, it's difficult for the hip hop movement. A lot of the hip hoppers in Cuba have had to leave. They've gone. So a lot of them are in the States or in other places. But there's still a few of them few of my guys that are still down there, doing what they
Mm,
can. And yeah, but I'm always also tapped in. Like my cousin is still over there. My cousin is the one, like our group is 340 MS. We started it together since we was young. And
okay.
so he's still out there, and that's it. But definitely if you want to get out there, let me know, man, for sure. I'll link you
I
up with.
mean, the way Trump got this shit going, like I don't even know if I can make it there without fucking getting flagged
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something,
Trump, yeah.
something like.
Yeah, right now it's
Like,
true that. Right now it's tough. Yeah, yeah.
you got that. As far as Ren, where you at now? What's the hip hop scene like out there?
It's looking all right. There's some movement. There's a little bit of movement. There's some shit going on. I know they have a small festival over here, and
Mm,
me and my organization, most of the comrades are based in Paris, but we started like a little, it's called Pan-Af Hip Hop, so Pan-African Hip Hop, and we had like it was like a little
mm,
small festival that we did, and we were able to do first edition, and we're trying to put the aspect of the culture in front. Like, yo, this is a Pan-African, it's revolutionary culture. Like the children of the African diaspora started hip hop in New York, and this is our shit. You know what I mean? So, so we started with that, and so we're doing some work around hip hop still. So I'm getting closer to certain people here in Ren, but yeah, there's some hip hop here, but nothing like in Paris. So of course, Paris is more like think of it like New York
New
for
York.
here.
Nah, fully understand. Like I'm a so like I said, the album's dropping in August.
Hmm.
I'm planning on going back to the UK and actually some spot dates in Europe, like in September. Nothing set in stone right now. It's because of indie tour situation.
Yeah,
But I have a few, a few fellow artists that we're building about it. So I'm definitely like there's certain spaces that I'm like, of course we got to make it to Paris.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
right
yeah.
now we're looking at all through the UK, all the major cities in the UK, Berlin, Spain, like whether it's Madrid or Barcelona,
Okay.
Italy. I got a homie Johnny Voltic who's out in Italy. He's like, yo, there's spots out here. So we're definitely gonna stay,
Yeah,
stay linked, and
yeah, yeah.
I'll definitely be like, yo, these are some of the dates I'm gonna be in Europe between this date and this date. Like, what could we work out type shit? Because
Yeah.
like doing what we're doing, as an indie artist, like I'm not signed to any label now, so you take on more responsibilities, more work, more and connect your own things up. So
Yeah, for sure.
definitely would love to come out the rain, come out to Paris. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Fuck it, we can make the Cuba, bro. I've never been to
Nah.
Cuba.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I didn't make it out when we were doing when Malcolm X grassroots movements was going out there and
Yeah,
Stig and them, Dev Prez went out there. Like I didn't make that
you didn't
trip,
make
and
it.
I
Okay.
remember same thing I'm asking you, telling them like, yo, tell me about Cuba. What does it look like? Like it's a dream for us. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
of
Like,
course.
you know?
I get it. And also it's like the thing, like you gotta think about it. Obviously, when you get out there, I know you obviously you feel great. You know what I'm saying? Because there is the reality of like, you could feel the hospitality and like the people in Cuba, we have like African culture is very much embedded in our culture in general. Even the white Cubans, because that's kind of like the culture that's embedded in all of that. But
Right.
there's a lot like when you look a little bit deeper, when you start talking to the people and everything, you see that there's a lot of racism, and it reflects, it shows on the reality of our people. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. Um,
So racism, like racism, like it's almost like a scientific like thing. Like racism will undermine even something
Yeah,
as noble as
unfortunately, I mean,
social.
I feel like, it's like we're living in white hegemonic, societies before the revolution. So if you don't address it even after the revolution and you set up somewhat of a socialist system, which today is not exactly that, unfortunately, but that's another
It's not.
conversation. But
It's
if you
not.
don't if you don't fully address, yeah, if you don't fully address racism and anti-blackness, you know what I'm saying, and colorism and all these things, then you know what I'm saying? You can't just kind of sweep it away like, okay, now this is a just society. And that's kind of like what happened, as far as race and all of that, you know.
Mm,
Um, so unfortunately,
mm.
but it actually there's work. You could like if you look, sometimes we look over this, but there's work of a few like Panthers and people talking about that. Like in Cuba, when they went to Cuba, when they would address race or things like that, they would kind of get like that shit would be kind of pushed to the side, you know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So
A few
there's
people have
pushback.
spoken about it. Yeah, a few people. Even Kwame Ture said something about that in Cuba. That's an unfortunate situation down there. But we're gonna keep fighting, man. We're gonna keep bringing it up, and hopefully, We also get international support because another things that happens that's not good is that you know how it is when like you said, you know Miami, like the Cubans in Miami is like right wing Cubans, like racist bullshit, like just anti-Castro for because they're anti-Castro because but so when our people speak in Cuba, like Afro-Cubans talk about racism and things like that, all these right-wing outlets, they want to show light on that, but they have a different agenda. So they're like, yeah,
That-
here,
that-
and our media, like revolutionary media doesn't show light on that. They don't want to let us speak about that, or they don't necessarily, so that's bad because the whole narrative of negative shit that's happened over there, we let in the right wing, and these people they don't if you don't have a voice, whoever gives you the mic, you're gonna talk on that mic. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So that's
It's
that's
like it's slippery. It's
yeah.
slippery. It's like damn, and I could understand the idea of like, yo, don't be too critical
Yeah.
of what we got here
Yeah.
because the wrong people outside of this shit is gonna, latch on to that
Yeah.
and undermine the beauty of the things. But you yourself, like, kind of understanding both sides of the shit.
Hmm.
Like, I see the dilemma, and
Hmm.
I've definitely heard of,
Yeah.
obviously race issues or whatever. Not even so much specifically in Cuba. Like I said, my mom's from Dominican Republic,
Yeah.
bro. Like, you know
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
deal with fucking DR.
No, you already
Like
know, man.
you got to have these conversations. Like, mommy, you're black, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm Africano.
Yeah.
She
Yeah. See,
like,
see,
bro, I'm
glad.
not, I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
African. I'm like,
Yo, but
look at
that's
your
what the
mother, bro.
the
Like,
Spanish the Spanish colonizers, man. They worked it on. Like we always talk about the English and the French, man, but the Spanish, bro. They worked it on some other levels because the self-hatred of our people down there and the anti-Africanness is deep. It runs deep, man. And like, even though like I'm saying, like a lot of our culture, you could still feel the Africanness. Even the Dominican Republic, you could feel like the
nigga,
African. But still,
it's
we don't want to call it that. It's like, no, we're Latino and all this bullshit. Like this is why I don't like to use the term Latino. Like, so what we're
yeah,
it's like we're identifying with the oppressor. Like Latino is basically of Latin origin. And like, so what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? We're African. Like I said, we're Afro-Cubans, we're Afro-Dominicans. We're.
right.
And
Now it's there's a whole wave right now, and this is a whole nother. We'll do another interview on this,
yeah.
but as a like my father's, I'm basically Caribbean American. My father's from
Mhm.
Montserrat, this small island next to Antigua St. Kitts
Okay.
Nevis,
Yeah,
Black Island, British colony, right?
yeah,
My mom's Dominican. She used to be a Spanish colony, but she's black, right?
yeah,
And like when we had these conversations, I see it now the same way you said we were talking about generally around the world. We see like a shifting of the culture, you know what I
mhm,
mean, where people are more aware in Africa and in different places about our plight as working class people, oppressed people, if you will, right?
yeah, yeah,
But I see even specifically within like the Afro Latino community, like I have conversations with other homies, just oh, your parents is from you're Puerto Rican, but you identify as black, right? Or you identify as Afro or whatever, right? And then you got Dominicans and you got the Cubans, whatever. And these conversations, it's conversations that we've always had, but like the last 10, 5 years, I don't know how long, but like I just see it picking up more and people identifying
yeah.
from Latin American countries and being like, no, I'm Afro Cuban, I'm Afro
Yeah, that's
Colombian, whatever.
that's good. That's
And
positive.
seeing the connection to Africa. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, that's positive, man. And then you see a lot of that is like the language barrier, is another thing that, that kind of killed us, whether it's language, religion, things like that, that is kind of a barrier that these are all things that we got from the oppressor though, you know what I'm saying? And we let that kind of dictate our identity. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just call yourself Spanish just because that's the language of your oppressor. That can't be your identity. Like dudes out here
You're
like
not
I'm
from
Spanish.
Spain.
I'm Spanish.
I'm,
Fuck does that mean, bro?
yo, and up top, like New York and Philly, like that's big. Like,
Yeah, I
like
know.
less so here. Like in Miami,
Yeah.
cats identify with where they're from. I'm Colombian, I'm Argentinian, I'm Venezuelan,
Uh,
I'm this, whatever.
Up
Up
there they're
top,
like, yeah, we
like
Spanish,
Philly,
Spanish.
Colombia, everybody's Spanish. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I remember growing up, my homies were like, oh, your mom's Spanish? And like, I didn't have political
Yeah,
education at
yeah,
all
of
as a
course. You
kid.
like, yeah,
So, yeah, my mom's Spanish. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Sure. She speaks Spanish, I guess.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fuck?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's what it is, man. But that becomes key when we start understanding through political education the importance of having, like Walter Rodney said, the importance of identifying as an African people. You know what I'm saying? Because once we see that, then we see the power within our people. If there's a reason why, this whole Latino and all this shit, it divides us, you speak this language, so you're not the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you Haitian, you speak French, you go over here. These are the African Americans. You know what I'm saying? These are
Right.
the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans and the Cubans. Like they're separate. No, no, no. If we're of African descent, you know what I'm saying? We're together. We don't care if our ancestors were colonized by the French, by the English.
You know what's crazy? And
Mm.
pardon for cutting you off, G.
Nah, you straight, man.
I don't know the term. Like black people that was born here.
Yeah.
There's like I think it was Ado
Yeah, yeah,
Adolf.
ADOS. Yeah.
Adolf, but now they not going like that's not a term. There's another term, like basically saying, born here type thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, wait, we're not about to do this shit. Like seriously, let's not do this shit. Like if you have enough wherewithal and intelligence enough to even state that, you got to know, like, fuck these borders, right? Like we all came, we came from somewhere and they dropped us off in different places, bro.
Yeah.
Like culturally, it's okay to culturally. Nobody's trying to take nobody's culture,
No.
like even when I have conversations with my mom, like, yeah, there's a unique Dominican culture. Yeah, you're Dominican, I get you, but we just got dropped off here and got mixed in. It's like it's a bigger. I don't even say struggle. It's like we're connected from that. So when I see that shit, that's dangerous right there.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
It is.
like anybody watching this shit, like that's like, that even subscribing to that. The one thing I say to that is like, it's not wrong with celebrating your unique identity in so many ways, but we're globally connected. Yes, there's things that we're not going to be all the same. Yes, there's things that in style and energy and is going to be different. But yeah, when I hear somebody, if you're not from here, like even the reparations argument, like it's like, oh yeah, if we get reparations and you're not from, you wasn't,
Down south.
from America. Yeah, if you wasn't here, then whatever. And I'm like, all right, if we get into reparations, if we actually get to reparations part, and it just happens in America, and you like, if your family came from the Caribbean, you don't get no parts of this. All right, whatever. But then I'm going to DR. Then I'm going to Montserrat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be like, yo, y'all governments need to figure a way to, like repair,
Yeah.
get everybody right.
But
You know
but
what I
yeah,
mean?
but even that, like the problem is that, the whole problem with that is that they don't have they're ahistorical, man. They don't understand the history, our radical history, because literally it was people from the islands and from the continent fighting in the struggle, in the black struggle in the United States, the same way the black struggle in the United States inspired at the same time the struggle on the continent and it's all intertwined, man. There's no way you can just say, no, it's only black people here that fought for this. That doesn't exist. There's no such thing. People of
But
African descent, African people have been struggling together, intertwinedly, all over throughout the year, ever since they put us in the boat. The resistance started as soon as they caught us, and it's always been that way. It's always been, and this is why we have to have an African identity, is because of that. Obviously, if colonization would and slavery would have never happened, we wouldn't need to be that. I could be Bantu, you could be Zulu, and it's straight. But since we went through all that, it's necessary for us to understand that we need to be together and that we need to be Africans, because when the police is gonna crack your head down the street, they don't give a fuck if you're Dominican or Cuban or foundational American or whatever the fuck you call yourself. You know,
damn,
you
that's
know
what
what I'm
it
saying?
is. There you
Yeah,
go. That's what it is.
yeah,
I heard that the other day. I was
yeah.
just like,
So,
wait, we using words for? All right, cool. Like
man,
I ain't trying to take.
man,
It's not like I'm trying to be in the club. Like, no,
that
I'm
shit is
American. Nigga,
backwards,
fuck
man.
America too, bro. Like,
Yeah, it's
I don't
backwards.
care what plantation you was on, bro.
Right.
Like what are we talking about here? Like, there's different plantations. Dominican Republic was a giant plantation. Cuba's a giant plantation.
Hmm.
Haiti, all these are plantations. What, we identifying with the plantation now?
You
Like,
know what I
fuck
mean?
out of here. Like,
Man,
get out of here, bro. Like, that shit is wild. And yo, like, yeah. Bottom line, us connecting up, us building, us doing this art, us doing this music, us doing, these conversations, I think is one of our biggest weapons
it
in
is.
in
It is.
or devices, if you will,
Yeah,
to try to connect us up, because that's the only way. If we're not connected, we're done. Like, we're
that's
done.
it.
The planet's done. Like,
That's
if we
it.
don't
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
this shit out, we might have 100 years. I don't see the Earth lasting 50.
Yeah. It's a
It's about
wrap,
the
man.
flood here. It's
Yeah.
about the flood here. There's fires going on over there. There's this. You know why that's happening?
Mm.
Capitalism, nigga.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they don't care. They
Exactly.
just trying to make a
Exactly.
profit.
Yeah, they not gonna stop till they burn the last forest, pollute the last river, the air, till the air is so polluted, they gonna try to go colonize Mars and
Mars.
the moon and all this
Exactly.
shit.
They're gonna
And
be looking back like, all right, we done with that hoe. We burnt
yep,
that shit out. Let's go. And
that's
then they're
it.
gonna be sitting on Mars figuring shit out. We gonna be burnt up here. So
That's it,
yeah,
man.
no, it's
Word
real.
up. Hey man, yo, it's been a good one, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Listen, um, can you give me before I let you go, do you have a book recommendation, man, for the people?
Um, I just go with just simple ones. My favorite. I think Revolutionary Suicide by Huey P. Newton.
Yes.
Uh, I forget who wrote it with him or whatever, but it's basically his autobiography of a certain time.
Mm,
And it was one of the books that kind of just like clicked for me.
yeah.
Like, it came at a certain time. I was young in the game,
Mm,
and just Huey's Huey. You know what I mean?
no
Like
doubt.
within People Army RBG, one of our like things used to be like Huey, like
Yeah,
off
yeah,
of
yeah,
Huey. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? We say Huey off of Huey, and his life, his energy, his mind, his whole journey really resonated with me.
Mm,
Obviously, in his later years, like things went left, which is also a very important like lesson for
mm,
us and just people in general of like just because you know things and you even follow through and do great work don't mean that you can't get sucked up by the
right.
ills of capitalism, with his later life. But
Hmm.
that book itself, super dope. Revolutionary Suicide. And not to be basic, even though this ain't
Hey, man.
basic for real, but one of the best books ever. I just gave it to my daughter. I gave it to my daughter like a year ago. Assata. Obviously, we all know Assata.
For sure.
And because it's such a popular book and a lot of people know it, it's not like, oh, book recommendation. They're like, I know Assata. Like Wretched of Earth, I know Wretched of Earth type shit.
Hey,
But
man. It still is. And these things are not to cut you up, man, but these books we have to reread. So it's never too many times because we always miss a gem here and there, man. You know what I'm saying? And then as we grow also, we understand certain things differently that we may not
that's
have caught before, you know? So
exactly,
that's
which
dope.
is why like Assata, I read Assata not too long after I read Revolutionary Suicide, like as not a kid, but like as early 20s type thing.
Hmm.
And I remember reading the same way the autobiography of Malcolm X hit me when I was a teenager.
Mm.
Like it just humanizes these figures that get kind of like put on, like you just look at them like, oh, it's this person, that person. You read like the little things, them in school as a kid and the things that they do with their teacher and with their parents and all that. Like you just start seeing like, yo, wow, that's me too. And with the Sada specifically, I read it and I remember getting a certain appreciation for the unique struggle of women within this thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? This thing of ours, like
for sure.
within revolutionary culture and how, she, had to, like deal with certain things, her as a child and all that. And I read that back before my daughter was born. And then like my daughter gets to a certain age, in her teens, and I was just like, whose words, whose life do I think would inspire my daughter?
Mm.
But I gave her Asada because I was like, this could illuminate some things for you. She didn't read it at first, and she started
Yeah.
reading it. And I remember my daughter going, "Dad, she went to the same." So my daughter I was born in Queens, in New York. When I was in New York, she was like, "Dad, she went to my same elementary school," and I
Mm.
was just like, "I know what's happening right now. Like you're doing the thing. You're
It connected
like
the
this
dot.
ain't this ain't some infallible like person that what I mean, this is like a real person. Like she went to my elementary, she went to PS whatever the blah 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 because
Yeah,
Asada's from Queens. So yeah, those two
that's
books. You
dope.
know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate that. All right, man. Listen, before I let you go, can you let the people know, yo, where they can get some of that, the system don't
Wow,
work, the music,
wow,
everything.
wow,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let us know
wow.
about the handles, the social media, everything, man.
Got you. This everything is the system don't work. You know what I mean? Like the system don't work on Instagram, the system don't work.com, the system don't work on TikTok, the
Mhm.
system don't work on YouTube. Like we do a good job of branding and keeping things consistent. So if nothing else, just the system don't work. Not the system doesn't work. Fuck
Mhm.
English, nigga. We just talking how we talk.
That's
The
right.
system don't work just like that. the clothing brand is taking off like crazy. Like we're looking at different boutiques, shops that we're in. We're in Philly, we're in Brooklyn, we're in Miami, we're in London. We moving around,
Dope.
and we're using that as a thing. Like there's average people that ain't even radical or nothing that be like, yo, I just like the phrase, and I see them walking around. People like, yo, I just love it. You know what I mean? So if you're looking to grab like one of these repurposed pieces, a lot of the repurposed pieces are 1-to-1s or whatever. Just hit us up on DM on The System Don't Work. But if you want like the stock pieces, like the tees and the hoodies and like certain things that we mass produce, I would say go to thesystemdon'twork.com. As far as the Instagram, I do a lot of connecting and building and throwing up revolutionary memes and different things that I see and the team sees. And if you want to connect up, let's connect up there. Also, wanted to say this: any artist, revolutionary artist, or let me not even use the word revolutionary artist, artists from the people, you know what I mean, our people, you know what I mean, oppressed peoples. If you're an artist and you don't have that platform to be like, yo, I want to, get my shit out, but what can I do? Like the System Don't Work ain't just me and Baby J, you know what I mean, and a couple artists. Like we are building with other artists, and like, you know what I mean. Let's hear your stuff. Like send your stuff to us on DM or whatever, and let's connect. If it's just us collabing, like myself or whatever, one of the artists we work with, or if it's something that resonates with Baby J because he does a lot of production on the System Don't Work records. It could become something like the idea of this umbrella is that it allows us an outlet. It connects us. But as we grow this, like we would love to have, our community centers and different things like that could really be a space for us to affect change, in a real way using art,
That's what's up. That's what's up. Everybody, y'all heard that? Make sure you go always support the revolutionary underground. You know what I'm saying? We need that. The system don't work. Go get you some dope apparel, get you some music, you know what I'm
Some
saying?
vinyls.
And get some inspiration, man. We need that inspiration for the struggle. You know what I mean?
Let me see.
Yes, sir. The vinyls are out. Woo, fire. Dope.
You know what I mean?
Dope,
These
dope,
joints.
dope. Yeah, no
Yeah, we
doubt.
building.
For sure.
August 2025. There's more of us than them coming soon. Let's stay linked. Let's keep
Word up.
fighting. Let's stay inspired.
Let's do that.
Rest in peace, Young Noble.
Yes.
And
Yes.
let's keep building, man. Let's just keep building, man. Keep connecting.
Give thanks, my brother Uhuru.
Uhuru.
All right. Once again, we give thanks to the brother Ness. The System Don't Work. Y'all check it out, man. Click on the links down low. We got a few links. Get you some fly gear. Get you some revolutionary music in your headphones. You know what I mean? I appreciate you all for checking us out. Black Power Media Reloaded, Vital Hoops Podcast. We got a lot more coming. The way you can really help is by sharing this. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and like I said, share it. Send it to someone privately, tag someone, let them know what we're doing right here at Vital Hoops, for the people, by the people, for the culture. Uhuru.